Welcome to Fit Talk with Coach Luis. If you're serious about getting fit, then this is your show. This is a podcast where fitness enthusiasts share all the ups and downs, the challenges, and the victories on their fitness journey. Now, here's your host, Coach Luis.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Fit Talk with Coach Luis. Today is actually a pretty cool interview because I'm talking with Joe, good friend of mine. We actually work together, so it's been really neat to actually get someone that I work with to jump on here and share his story, share his journeys, his passion, and other things that he also does outside of this thing. So, Joe, thank you for being on board, man.
Hey, Luis. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate you having me on as one of your guests. I feel very honored.
Man, absolutely, man. It's my pleasure, dude. We've been friends for a while, you know, and I figured it makes sense to talk to someone that definitely is talking the talk and walking the walk, and and so for those that don't know, give us a little bit of a background on what it is that you do, how you got to where you're at.
Yeah. So, gosh, I want to say it's been, close to 10 years now, I guess, where, it's funny. I refer to the time before now as Joe version 1.0,
Yeah.
and obviously, like, I think, so first of all, yeah, I work as a health coach, specifically a health coach lead for Vita, and I work with Luis, obviously. So, I guess how I came here, my journey started, about 10 years ago, where I started to ride bikes, and I got just into bicycles, and that feeling you have when you do something for the first time again, because we all mostly know how to ride bikes, and just that feeling of being a kid again was just like, so joyful, I guess. Is what comes to mind. Anyway, kind of parallel or alongside that, I was actually smoking cigarettes, eating fast food, sleeping at 2 a.m. with the TV on, just like really, really poor health hygiene and health habits, really. I think this idea of wellness was like, it was a dream probably at that point. It wasn't even in my consciousness, I think. And essentially, kind of to fast forward a little bit, I got into bikes. I love really riding them and going fast. And essentially, I got into bike racing. And then I was like, oh yeah, I probably need to start eating a little bit better and maybe stop smoking cigarettes and maybe eating less French fries so that I could actually not be tired after 45 minutes of riding my bike. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think a lot of, at least initially, a lot of my journey to like losing weight. So I think all in all, I lost about 50 pounds, which isn't like a super, large amount of weight to lose, but it was significant enough where, I feel like a completely different person, but yeah, I think that journey kind of happened over the span of probably about 3 to 4 years. And everything I learned about nutrition and sleep and kind of, exercise was self-taught at that point. And I was like, man, like if I could do it, I'm pretty sure other people could do it,
Right.
And I obviously, I don't know what it was that like, really catapulted myself to kind of pursue these things. But, I would say the one thing was kind of my love for sport in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was pretty active mostly growing up. And so yeah, maybe just this fed that, that desire, I guess.
Yeah.
I never played. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, is that where Joe 1.0 ended?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say probably after about 4 or 5 years of bike racing. I think I raced for about 7 years total, but yeah, about 4 or 5 years. I think Joe 2.0, rose from the ashes.
Nice.
I
The
think it
new
was
Joe
about,
emerged.
yeah, I think it was about the time where I decided. So my wife actually went back to school. She got her master's um, in psychology, and
Nice.
then at that point I was kind of at a crossroads too with like what I was doing with work slash like kind of career trajectory. And I think it was just I made the decision, and I thought it was I had the kind of fortune and opportune time to um, have a little bit of time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school too. And originally, I didn't know what to go for. I just wanted to actually learn more about health and see how I could help, um, you know, kind of my community, I guess,
Mhm.
which I know we've talked about in the past, but more so just my immediate social circle with my family and friends who I know are just having a lot of health issues. But um, to maybe fast forward again, in grad school, there was a wellness coaching certification built into the program, and that's how I found health coaching.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. I mean, yeah, so that's basically what led you to then start with Vita and all that, and then do the whole health coaching and get to what you're doing now.
Yeah. So I had right when I graduated grad school, I coached. I had kind of my own like private practice, if you will, if you could even
Okay.
call it that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and a lot of it was really just to try and get experience, out of school, and to try and put my education to use, and really, yeah, just kind of, put my head down and grind a little bit. And it was okay. I think probably marketing yourself and trying to get your clients, get clients on your own is probably the most difficult. I don't know if
Yeah.
you may have experienced that as well.
Yeah.
It's like you're not even working. You're just like trying to get people to work with you at that point.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so after about a year, I think I actually got lucky. A woman I went to grad school with kind of connected me with Vita, and I got an interview, and kind of that's how that started.
Awesome, man. Well, good.
Yeah,
That's a good. I like how you gave us a nice little background about where you were at. Those. I mean, like you said, 10 years ago is when it started. A whole different person, and that just shows
yeah.
the impact that being healthier and just more conscious of what you're eating and how you're resting and recovering, the
Mm.
huge impact it can have on you. Because I'm sure you never thought back then that you would have done, like, for example, you did this marathon that you just did, the Portland Marathon.
Right,
You know,
half. I did the
you
half, but yeah,
oh, okay, the half, okay.
yeah.
But again, I'm sure you never thought you'd be doing something like that. you
No.
know I mean, that to you was probably like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's like you said, a whole different person.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I think yeah, it's really interesting. Something I think about often actually is the idea, and I don't know if you ever played sports when you were in school, Luis, but
Hmm.
you know, I think, or at least organized sports was never a thing in my family.
Yeah.
Um, I played flag football in elementary school, but that was kind of, elementary school. But
Yeah.
high school and college, like, I tried out for the football team in high school. I was literally the only person who did not make the team.
Yeah.
So that didn't really help me out too much. And so, college, I was active, but like never really cared about sports or being, just being athletic in general.
Right.
And then, so it's funny because I think I like to say that I'm living my high school and college sports dreams now
Yep.
as a quote unquote master's athlete.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but yeah, you're right. I mean, for sure, I think reclaiming my own health and really having like a strong sense of self-efficacy around that,
Hmm.
um, I feel like a different person. I am a
Totally.
different person.
You are, absolutely. and
Yeah.
and who knows where you'd be, obviously not in a good place now had you not made those changes. who
Sure.
who knows. And again, I can totally relate to you in the whole sense of, growing up. I'm Hispanic, so it was very different. The stuff that you have accessible to you, you know.
Yeah.
And I grew up overweight, you know, during middle school and all that. So I didn't make any teams, so I didn't have any of that either. So,
Right.
but again, it was all in the same sense, you know, self-taught up to a certain point, and then it kind of just clicks, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, that's why I think it's so important. Like you said, we are talking about earlier, that to give back to our, you know, to where we're from, to our community, and to show them that, you know, it doesn't matter if you have limited resources, you can still do something with that.
Sure.
So what would you say is your motivation for what you do?
Um, can you be more? Can
So
you say
like,
more about what I do, like work or personal
yeah,
life,
yeah.
or?
Like, what is your motivation? Like, what is your why to continue to push yourself to keep bettering yourself, as far as, you know, learning more in the healthcare field, you know, being, whether it's being just an overall, because I mean, I know you just had another kid, so, you know,
Right.
what is your motivation around why you continue to want to better yourself?
Um, Gosh, dude, that's a big question, Luis.
Hey, I throw the hard balls, man.
You do, you really do, man. No, I mean, it's a great question. I mean, there's probably multiple answers to that. You know,
Absolutely.
I think the first one really is, like you mentioned, you know, I just had my second child, or my wife did, but we did. You know, I think one, just being, you know, being healthy and just well, for myself, obviously, but for them, so that
Right.
I can really show up, um, you know, kind of just as present as possible,
Mhm.
just feel able-bodied. You know, like there's not one day that goes by where, you know, yeah, some days, like, you know, we can take our health for granted, but like I really try and make it a point to, anytime I go for a run, or a bike ride, or to do any kind of physical activity, like, what a gift, right?
Mhm.
Like, I can wake up tomorrow and, you know, who knows, have some kind of health complication or whatever. So,
Absolutely.
you know, a few months back, actually, I had a scare. I had a legit scare. There, you know, I was like being tested for lupus, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
what?
Yeah,
Like, how's that possible? And you know, thankfully, nothing came of it. But that was definitely kind of a wake up call for me. You know,
for sure.
so kind of getting back to your question, though, yeah, I think first and foremost is just being healthy for my family, so that I can, again, just be present with them, and support them. You know, two, like, actually, for me, there is no other way. You
Mhm.
know, that's just kind of who I am and ingrained in me. You know, I think, uh, as far as, like, as it relates to work, um, I you know, being in grad school, I think one of the hesitations I had, and one of my insecurities was that I did not have a clinical background in health and
Mhm.
wellness. I wasn't a yoga teacher. I did not do Reiki. I
Mhm.
wasn't a nutritionist. I did not work in a clinical setting. But what I did have was kind of just this real life experience on my own of kind of transformation in health, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so, you know, I you know, it's not going to take that long for me to go back to Joe 1.0, you know, if I just let things go a little bit, you know.
Right. Right.
And so, just with that, I think, I just want to always model as best I can, and kind of like walk that walk,
Mhm.
right? That we've chatted about before.
Mhm. There you
Um,
go.
because I think, if we're not able to do that, like, you know, where is the integrity when we work with our clients?
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
yeah, so, you know, really just modeling, and just being as genuine as possible for the people we work with, for
Mhm.
ourselves. Um, and then, you know, maybe kind of a little bit lighter note, I think, just the social circles that we run in, you know,
Mhm.
um, I think, just, even if you inspire, which I know you inspire so many people, Luis, you inspire me, you know, and and the coaches that we work with, like, at the end of the day, even if you inspire one person, like, that's enough,
Yep.
you know?
Absolutely. That's
So,
so funny you said that, man, because I was literally talking about that to someone else the other day.
right.
How it's so important to be surrounded by positivity. You know, it's so important to be
Right.
surrounded by people because our environment will literally state how we go and live day in and day out. So if we're
Yes.
surrounded by people with the same mindset, it'll
Yep.
help us grow and be better, be more positive. And then again, on a different note, if we surround ourselves with people that are just not in that same mindset, it will actually hinder our progress too. So
100%.
so you know, the fact that you surround yourself with like-minded people and vice versa, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's only going to help us do better. You know, if
Yeah.
we didn't, then yeah, we would definitely revert to Joel 1.0 and the Lewis, the chubby kid that never got picked for any team. So
Sure.
we don't
Sure.
want that, you know, and we want to be a
No.
good
No.
example. You know, we want to be a good
Exactly.
example for our athletes, for our clients, for anyone that's listening. And again, whoever's listening to this, same thing. If you're going through those struggles, you know, all you need to do is just reach out to us, and if we can't help you, we'll find someone that can. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, is helping, and it's okay not to know all the answers, you know, but that's what we're here for.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, knowing all the answers isn't even the point anyway, right? It's just to
Exactly.
actually just keep asking the questions, I think.
That's right, and that's all we are, as guides. You know,
Yep.
we're just guys, and we're also still learning along the way. And you know, like, you know, I just took that precision nutrition thing because we're always learning, you know, and
Yeah.
there's always something more to know. You know, technology is always getting better, science is always getting better. So the more we know, the more that we can help other people and help ourselves as well.
Yep.
So, okay, so do you have a favorite? I mean, I know we love all our clients on that, but do you have like an inspirational moment that really touched you?
Are you talking about like working with clients?
Yeah, like anything that stuck out to you that kind of really made you feel like, man, this is why I do what I do.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I have a few, but I guess one comes to mind if we're talking about just like really one, right? that,
Right,
that
right.
really stands out. Yeah. I mean, do you want me to just share kind of like a quick,
Yeah,
kind of,
for sure, man. Yeah.
you know, so it was last year actually. It was a client of mine who signed up. It was, health coaching was a benefit to her through her employer. So she signed up with me, and she's an older she was an older lady. She's I want to say like 67, 68,
Mhm.
and she basically just wanted to lose some weight. And so we started working together, and I got to know her a little bit. She lived in upstate New York. And I think we started working together actually like around September, October. So heading into the fall and then kind of deep into the winter, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so, where she lived was a little bit remote, and just, fall, winter in that area, I think can be pretty harsh.
Mhm.
And last year, I've never been to that part of the country actually, so I can't really
Mhm.
say. But from what I gather, just like lots of you know lots of inclement weather, let's say,
Right.
especially if you want to be outside, right?
Gotcha.
um, so luckily enough, like their property that she lived on, apparently she had like this huge kind of a wraparound deck and porch. um, and so that detail matters in this story because um, it would have been really, really easy for her to just make all the excuses to not get a workout in or an
Mm.
exercise in. Um, but literally, Luis, like she walked on around her kind of wraparound balcony every day,
Nice.
snowstorm and all. Um, at the bare minimum for at least 20 minutes, but she was walking like I don't know how she did it, and she didn't go crazy, but I would say at least 40-45 minutes every day.
Maybe that's
And
why she
so,
didn't go crazy with the snowstorm,
yeah,
because she was
maybe,
doing the walking.
yeah. And obviously there was a big kind of nutrition component to what we worked with as well, as far as kind of like her her weekly goals, and kind of what she was doing as far as like kind of her wellness plan, if you will. um, but yeah, so I think why this is kind of stands out to me is just kind of like this older lady who wanted to lose weight, who just kind of lived in this kind of remote part of upstate New York. it just, for me, like there was just every reason not to succeed
Mm-hmm.
at her goals of, basically it was like, losing weight overall, but within that too, just eating better and then just staying active, especially for her age that she really wanted to. And after about a year and a half, she was very successful, let's say, in her weight loss goal.
Yeah.
And I think there were many calls we had where, as coaches, right? I think one of the most special things about coaching is the ability and kind of the opportunity and the space that we offer our clients to like just feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think she was able to feel heard, and kind of we worked through some of her challenges, obviously. And yeah, I'm just so proud of her.
That's awesome. No, and,
Yeah.
and the thing is, like you said, we're giving them that opportunity to be heard, like you said, is so impactful that sometimes we even take it for granted, I think, because since we're constantly doing it, but then to them, this is their time. And
Yeah.
for them to be felt heard and not judged and know that you're there for them
Yep.
always, that is such a huge part of their progress that without it, and we all need it, and without it, like she probably would, we don't know if she would have even done the things she did. And again, that's one of the biggest parts of being a coach and helping people.
Most definitely, man. Yeah. The other kind of detail that comes to mind too, actually, was that um, she, I think, throughout our year and a half, close to 2 years working together, she almost never missed a consultation.
Wow.
uh, and obviously, like, the clients that we have who who are really kind of good and just like really committed, like,
Mhm.
they in a sense they are kind of our easiest clients, right? Because they
Mhm.
show up and they do the work.
Mhm.
um but I think just, for her, without getting too personal, yeah, she was, there was some struggles for sure. I think a lot of it was just really kind of like, there was some personal stuff going on, but like the weather, I've actually never lived on the East Coast and kind of in that part of the country too. And I don't know what it's like, I imagine it's pretty darn difficult
Yeah.
to stay motivated throughout the deep winter. But she was somehow able to, and there was definitely some rough patches, but like she still showed up for every call, man. And it was just so inspiring. And, you know, it, it wasn't a surprise that like it made me want to show that much more, just kind of like
Mhm.
just be more like that much more committed to her as my clients. We're all committed to our
Absolutely.
clients, but like, she was a gem. And it was definitely a privilege to just like, support her on her journey.
Yeah, and that's such a great thing to know that whenever our clients are really committed and focused on it, it's just like you said, it makes us, because you kind of build that connection then with that person,
Yes.
and you kind of look forward more to it and all that, and that's just a fantastic story. Thank you, thanks for sharing that, man. I'm sure
Yeah. Thanks for
that can help
asking.
a lot of people. Yeah, I'm sure it'll help a lot of people that can hear that through adversity,
Mm,
just put the work in and have a good coach, because that's also marks of a good coach, that follows through with the person and helps them move forward and not focus on the negative things, but focus on what you can do during
right.
those times. So okay, so what
Definitely.
books are you into right now that are helping you out in anything that you need?
Books. Oh my gosh.
Are you like
Uh,
me and not really read many of them?
yeah, man. If I'm being honest, like, I have a nightstand in my room, and there's probably like 9 or 10 books in there
Yep.
that are all half read.
Yeah. Well, you've halfway read to them. That's good.
Yeah, but the other day I was thinking, man, like there's enough time that's gonna go by, and I don't know if I'm gonna have to reread all of them, or like,
Yep.
or just start where I left off again. But yeah, I mean, there are a few that come to mind that I guess I would share. I mean, the first one is actually a fiction book
Hmm.
um, by Elaine Castillo. She is a upcoming, I guess, Filipino American writer
Hmm.
who is just speaking from her experience growing up in the Bay Area,
Okay.
kind of immigrating from the Philippines, which resonates with me on so many levels, mostly because like it's fiction, but a lot of the locations and kind of like just schools and the way she talks about kind of the Bay Area, specifically kind of like Milpitas, San Jose, San Francisco area where I grew up, just like hits close to home,
Right.
But yeah, just kind of talking about that, what it's like to be a Filipino American growing up in the Bay Area in kind of like, late 80s, 90s. Something I'm really enjoying and finding myself connecting, just with,
Nice.
with my culture again, in that capacity of reading some fiction. Because actually I don't read much fiction.
Yeah.
And let's see. I don't know if you're familiar with that book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
No. See, there you go. One book I can look into.
Yeah, I mean, Stoicism has gained, I think, a lot of popularity over the last few years. Probably longer than that. It's probably maybe just me who's gotten into it recently. It's I think kind of been all over a lot of similar podcast channels, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just kind of, that's a nice read because you could literally pick it up and read any kind of passages, and I guess be inspired or just like, be encouraged to reflect on any and all parts of your life. Let's see. I mean, the other, do you know who David Goggins is?
Mm-mm.
He's gotten more and more popular, mostly because he's made the podcast rounds as well.
Okay.
But he has a book called Can't Hurt Me. He's basically, he was a Navy SEAL. I think he's now retired, but he was a Navy SEAL who, I think, do you know what BUDS is?
Yes.
Right? I think he went through BUDS twice, if not 3 times in 1 year, because of just being injured and I don't know, madness. But he look up some of his stuff, and it's really hard not to be inspired. He's very much a specific cup of tea, I also think. The way he talks about like stay hard, like don't ever feel comfortable, I guess, and you always just have to be hammering and kind of like the whole theme of like get out of your comfort zone or your level grow kind of thing. So again, it's no surprise that he's gained a lot of kind of popularity and attention, because he's pretty much a no filter guy as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kind of straight up in your face, but he's a bad man. I think he was at maybe 350 at one point, and now he's like probably one of the fittest people on the planet.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, look into him. So to be clear, I have his book on my shelf. I haven't read it, but I've listened to probably like 8 or 10 podcasts. After about 2 or 3, they all kind of the same. Gotcha. But just every time you hear him talk and you hear his story, I think his thing is, what he likes to say is like, be uncommon amongst uncommon men, right? And it's just this idea of like, at least the way I interpret it, is just like, you just kind of, you have to get after it every day for yourself. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so there's a lot more books that I'm not reading.
So cool. But those are good ones. Thanks for sharing those, man.
For sure.
And so one of the last questions, I want to get back to the parenting and all that. So for maybe a lot of dads that just they had a newborn now, and they're juggling with that and exercising. So can you at least give them like 1 or 2 tips on things that maybe you do that maybe they can use, on how you do to juggle work and your exercise balance with also helping your wife with the newborn?
Oh man. I'd love to share. So to clarify, I have a 2.5-year-old son, and then almost 3-month-old baby girl now, and they're fantastic. And yeah, the 2-kid life is real. I'm trying to I'm trying to put money in the bank for my dad fitness, the old man power when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, I think the first things that come to mind really are one, communicating with your partner, and just really level setting and expressing to them how important it is for you to get in the exercise time or workout or whatever it is you're doing to stay active. And I also think, like, if you a lot of it too is actually being clear with it for yourself, right? And really kind of asking yourself, well, like, how much does this matter to me? I find that, like, a lot of people I talk to who are having a tough time exercising, like, they actually haven't taken the time to explore for themselves why it is important to, like, just try and be a little bit healthy or a little bit fitter. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah. And so I think that's kind of like the first thing is really, just get clear for yourself and then get clear kind of within your family. Usually that means just talking with your partner, so obviously, like, my wife is super supportive with what I do, and kind of, in a sense, like, training in general is a pretty selfish thing. Obviously it serves many functions, but at the end of the day, like, we're taking time away from family as fathers or as parents,
Right.
to take care of ourselves. So within that, after you've kind of had the conversation or two, I think you also just have to come to terms with the reality that I think the idea you have in your head about, like, a workout might not be that on any given day.
Exactly.
Pre-children, oh man, what a luxury, right? You can work out
Few
whenever
hours
you
at the
wanted
gym,
to.
no
Yeah,
big deal.
exactly.
Yeah.
Get 2 a days in, whatever,
Yep.
and it's just not like that.
Yep.
And so it's probably actually a big reason why I started running a lot was that, or when I could, was because, like, I could put my son in the stroller and just go, you know.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I think kind of the second kind of idea is, like, really just, like, letting go of the idea that a workout is going to be, quote unquote, like, a workout. And so kind of what I mean by that too is just, like, just maximizing your time. And
Mm-hmm.
that is cliche to say, but at the same time, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there of just body weight exercises, um for me, it's worked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also think you have to be okay with doing things that you may not fully enjoy. um
Yeah.
if it also depends on what your goals are. Like, do you just want to maintain some kind of, like, good cardiovascular health, or do you want to get fit? And who knows, either one is fine. It just really depends on what you feel you can commit to, if that makes
Right.
sense.
No, those are fantastic 2 pointers. Yeah, and it's very. I'm glad that you put that out there. The fact of communicating with your partner, because that is huge. Because if you're both on the same page, then there won't be as many misunderstandings as there normally comes. And with
Yeah,
two people. So that's
for
that's
sure.
excellent. And then also being flexible. If you know
Yeah.
you can't get in your normal 2 hours at the gym in one shot or whatever, then break it up. And
You have to.
yeah, full body workouts, high intensity intervals, like all those things running. I mean, you can break that out into 10, 15-minute intervals throughout the day or something
Right.
like that. Your body
Right.
still recognizes that you did work.
Most
And
definitely.
the whole point is to just move and stay active. So, yeah, absolutely. And then again, another point or another reason to why health coaches and just coaches in general are good, because they can give you those tips, those pointers, those guides, and just keep you motivated and accountable. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think actually that, yeah, definitely a great way to break it down. And I think with that too is actually trying to, as much as possible, like, get away from the all or nothing mindset.
Yeah.
I think it could be easy. Sometimes I fall into this trap too. It's like, well, I can't get, like, a 45-minute workout in, so why do it anyway?
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you're
Yeah.
putting in the time,
Absolutely.
it's still money in the bank.
Absolutely
Um,
is.
even 10, 15 minutes, like,
Mhm.
the small wins is what we have to focus on.
Right. It's like that old saying, it was the only bad workout is the one you didn't do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, last question I got for you, man, is what message would you want to send out to anyone listening?
Another big bomb, Luis.
Man, I started it on a bomb. I got to drop it on the bomb.
Yeah, man. I think something I've been chewing on lately, just so within the context and kind of what we talk about of like health and wellness and kind of the coaching that we do, right? I actually think something that isn't talked about enough, it is, depending on the coach and kind of the, I guess, topic of conversation. But something I think isn't talked about enough is the importance of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like, I think nurturing, relationships with your partner, with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. It's just really easy to get caught up, in my experience and kind of what I've seen around me, of just like, I want to get healthy and I want to be fit and, I want to get my 8 hours of sleep and, I want to, I want to eat low carb and kind of, do HIIT exercises and this and that. There's just so much focus on, obviously like wellness has just been very much, commodified and just
Mm-hmm.
glorified, I think, with social media, right? That, I think there's just been, at least through my eyes, there's just been so much less attention on the importance of relationships and how that can impact your health.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Something that we chatted about in the beginning was just kind of community and kind of giving back, right? Or maybe this was kind of before we recorded, but yeah, man, I think just really nurturing the relationships that we have in our life, for me is a huge, I think it's just a really big part of feeling supported and then feeling well every day, because man, life is so short, life is so short, and like, being fit and healthy is great, but like, if that's it kind of by ourselves, there's just there's just not enough, I think, emphasis, on that.
Love it. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a full balance. It's not just, like you said, it's not just the exercising. It's really taking care of your family, taking care of your loved ones, your partner, making sure that you're both taking time for yourselves as much as possible too. It really is all a balance. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, great pointers, Joe. The environment, we got to choose wisely with those, just stay active, move, be okay with not having the workouts we thought we would have, impossible is really just a mindset. So, we can work through barriers, we can work through things, the importance of communicating with our partners, and reaching out to, a healthcare specialist that can help you. Again, if you don't know someone, shoot me a message. We'll definitely help you guys out. And again, thanks, Joe, so much for being on here and sharing your fantastic story and, taking some time out. And after that, that's it. After that, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much for having me on, Luis.
You got it, man.
All right.
Thanks for checking out Fit Talk with Coach Luis. Remember to follow us on social media, on Instagram at Live2Progress and on Twitter at Live2Progress. Stay tuned for more episodes of Fit Talk with Coach Luis coming soon. And remember, always live to progress.